tell me about the new album.
Yeah, we started working on this album actually back in 2019.
Okay.
Prior to, we did a tour with ABBA and one more band, and was 13, 14 actually. And yeah, we were planning to go back to Texas in like March, April 2020 after we were done touring, and continue because we had already started. We had quite a few skeletons, for songs. And yeah, then the pandemic happened, as you all know, and kind of buried that dream. So and we're a very organic band. So it's like in the sense of we're actually rehearsing and jamming face to face. Like at least the three of us, David, Flo, and I. So it's kind of crucial for the songwriting process to be, we're all of us present, face to face. So when I couldn't fly across the Atlantic, well, it literally stopped everything, So
right.
That was essentially what happened. And yeah, as soon as the borders opened, I could fly to Canada. I went up to Flow. We had a week or 12 days of rehearsals because David was on tour with I Am Morbid.
Mm-hmm.
David came back, and then we eventually met up in Texas a couple more times and finalized it. I think essentially what happened is, we had most of the ideas for the album already back in 2019. But when you get when there's a lot of time in between rehearsals, a lot of time in between any interaction,
Sure.
Then the ideas kind of, I think they changed, or maybe even matured, So I think essentially it was headed in a slightly more aggressive direction. But when the horrors of the pandemic kind of started, and went in a slightly doomier, more moody direction, I think, some of the songs at least. So yeah, that's how it turned out. And it's a pandemic album, so get it out of the system.
Yeah. What other projects did you have going on during the COVID era?
So the thing is, since I couldn't travel, I could hardly leave my house here in Portugal. Cops were patrolling. I live in a small city just south of Lisbon, and I couldn't even enter Lisbon by taxi or Uber. So it was like really strict here. Wow. And so what do? You write angry music. So essentially, what happened is I started a black metal band, and I signed to Peaceful Records.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was still allowed to travel to France, I got a drummer in France, and I released my debut album, Black Royal Spiritism, and the name of the band is Rune. It came out last May, and that's what I basically spent the pandemic on, forging that concept. So yeah, this is a hobby and a job, so if you can do one thing, then you find another thing. So I'm very happy that somehow the pandemic turned out to be kind of an amazing discovery for me, to go in the vein of doing some black metal again, because I haven't really done that since I quit Mayhem in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a bit exciting.
Speaking of Mayhem, you've had quite a career up to date so far, and you joined Mayhem at probably their most interesting time, or at least right after, anyway.
Yeah, I guess interesting is the right word. Yeah, I joined the band in October 1994, actually. So it was the middle of all the controversy, controversy in Norway, and it was, it was for us at the time. It was it's kind of a small revolution, you know. It was very exciting times, actually, full of magic, if you understand what I mean. And it was something special on that period. Created a lot of interesting new music as well. Yeah, and I kept going for. I think I played in the band for about 13 years. So uh, I have some stories, if you know what I mean.
I can imagine. I can imagine. You have a story or two you can tell?
No, I mean it's just too much, man. You know, it's like it was not a normal day back in the days. You know, I was still in school when I joined Mayhem. So it was kind of I was traveling in between. I grew up around 60 kilometers outside of Oslo, so I had to take the bus in to rehearse with the guys, you know, and slept over in Oslo, woke up super early to get bus back out to go to school. Um, it was a crazy fucking period, and I don't really have. Well, I have a lot of stories, but I can't really think of anything specific now. But I'm also actually considering writing, or getting a book done as well, because you know, as you said, around 1994, it was. Of course, I was even involved slightly earlier as well. I used to hang around in Oslo from early 90s in the 90, at least 92, I think. So there's a lot of things that went on back in the days, and you know I'm actually toying with this now since I've come so far in my career, and I'm still doing interviews about it, you know, which is interesting, an interesting thing. So I'm actually thinking of getting a book done to cover all this, you know. So I would probably save all the Jet Juicy stories for that, you know. Should be a worthwhile read.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can only imagine the stories that you have, but being there firsthand in Norway and that whole area in general for probably the greatest wave of black metal there was, and
Yeah.
you know, and of course,
Yeah, no,
go ahead.
it was a lot of innovation, you know, a lot of creativity going on at the time.
Absolutely.
I guess it also was kind of a healthy competition, you know, like we were all kind of listening to each other's records, so you know, and you know, always kind of pushing to go better, to better, or you know, more extreme or whatever. It was a little bit like that at times. But yeah, it was a fun period, but um, I didn't go through it again. You know, I'm glad I was there, but it was kind of all over the place at the same time. You know, especially as well because we were four completely different individuals, you know, in the band.
Sure.
So yeah, it was bound for some chaotic moments, you know. At every show, it was, or even every rehearsal, it was always something. Yeah, for sure.
So what got you into playing music and wanting to play music, and what were some of your first kind of musical adventures?
You know, my father used to play in. There's an old, I think they're American. I'm not sure. It was a band called The Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah, and my father used to play in The Shadows cover band. He was a guitar player in The Shadows cover band in Norway in the early 70s, probably something like that. So I guess I got that maybe from him, you know. Because there was a guitar in the house as far as, you know, like when I started to become conscious of this thing, there was a guitar in the house that I was always entertained by, you know. And later on, actually, I have an older sister, and she started to date a guy who was into heavy metal. You know, this was really early, maybe 80, 84 or something like that. So I remember he and along with my sister, they brought me to my first heavy metal show, which was Motorhead in 1985. I was 10 years old, you know, so you can imagine the impression that this had on me. So from there on, I saw all the great heavy metal bands, like Dio, Priest, Warlock, Doropesh, all this stuff. So firsthand, So even Motley Crue. So it was a glorious period, the mid '80s for me, and I guess that's what essentially brought me into heavy metal and really deciding on becoming a musician, like around that time.
Yeah, I'm always jealous of. Like, I was born in '87, so while I was born in the '80s, I didn't get to experience the '80s, and I wish that I could have, like, not that the '90s were bad or anything, but I feel like I would have really, really thrived in the '80s.
Yeah, definitely. It was a totally different magic, I'm really fond of that era of especially heavy metal. I still don't listen to that much modern music. I still keep rooted in '70s prog music or '80s heavy metal or hard rock.
Oh yeah.
Still listen to Motorhead and even Kiss and Old Priest. That's what's on my speakers.
Well, there's certainly worse music to listen to, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just great songs and big choruses and fun periods and larger than life approach, and it's lacking a bit in this scene, I think, or in today's society. Okay, we have bands that go all the way, but there's not that many bands that are really good songs anymore, in my opinion. So it's all been done,
Sure. So how did you end up creating a project with David Vincent and getting this new band off the ground?
I met David the first time in Germany. I was playing there with Mayhem, and he came on the tour bus because I think he knew Hellhammer, the drummer of Mayhem. And I got to meet him there first. That was the first time, and we hit it off really, really well. We were chatting for hours on the tour bus. And after the show, we just kind of, he split off, and so did we. We had a show the next day, and we were rolling on the tour bus. But we kept in touch, over the years. And actually, we were supposed to do something some years after I quit Mayhem. I think I quit in 2008 or 9, I don't remember now. But like 2-3 years after that, 2 years maybe, we got in touch again, and we were actually planning to do something back in 2011 or 2012. That never materialized. But some time went by, and I saw that he had quit or exited Morbid Angel again. I wrote him one night. I was just, sitting at home drinking some red wine, and for some reason I was watching some YouTube videos, and suddenly I think "Blessed Are the Sick" came up, and I was like, "That's okay, David." I should write him a message. So I wrote him a message, and he replied immediately. And we decided that next morning we should have a talk, and that was it. This was 2015 or 16 or something. So at that time I already had talked to Flo as well, about doing a new band. So we were basically looking for.
So it was all just the right timing.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Did you hear what I said? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. It seemed like everything was the right timing. It all just kind of fell into place.
That's exactly what happened. It's like, as I told you, like we were trying to do something earlier on, but then they had just recorded Illud, the last Morbid Angel album with David, and they were preparing to master it. And it was different times, and he didn't probably have the time for it either, and it was just not the right time. And I was also doing a lot of other things. So I think it happened when it needed to happen.
Absolutely. And what a project it is, and like I said, I'm happy that you got new music coming out finally.
Yeah, took a while, but I can assure you it won't take another 5 years because again, we lost the momentum, and it was just miserable times for everybody. So
Yeah, but hopefully we're past that now, and hopefully anyway. The world is crazy, so you never know what's going to happen. But
yeah, sadly, we really don't know. Nothing surprises me anymore. That's for sure.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So if I ask this from everybody I talk to, especially if they're overseas, if I came to visit Norway, where would you recommend that I went? Whether it was for food or entertainment or history, culture, whatever.
I would say you should go north, far north, to the coastlines. I wouldn't recommend Oslo. I grew up around Oslo, and I would recommend it. For me, it's kind of a dirty city. I know everybody has, there's a lot of people who love that city, but it's it used to be a kind of a rough place, it maybe has improved, but it's certainly extremely expensive. It's very overpriced as well. That's by a huge diversity, of course, as opposed to what it was like 30 years ago. It's huge. It's a cosmopolitan at this point, even though it's a small city. But yeah, I would really go see the nature up north. The food is amazing. The seafood. Bergen is okay. But there's always good things in every spot, right? I mean, you have the Viking Museum in Oslo. You go to Bergen, they have their things, they have their fjords. It's it's a kind of a complicated question. If I don't live in Norway, I moved to Southern Europe.
Okay.
So I don't have, the only connection I have to Norway is obviously I play with the black thrash metal band Aura, and also I have family in Norway, but I hardly visit, So at this point, it's like I've been living over 20 years in Fon, so it's kind of, I would base my knowledge about Norway. Yeah, it's definitely very, very far north. To even Tromsø is a beautiful city. See the midnight sun, go fishing. It's amazing mountains. It's a beautiful country. It's just big town mentality is not for me anymore, so I cannot recommend that for you.
Okay, I appreciate that answer. For the longtime fans, for the fans that don't know about you yet, the soon-to-be fans, what do you say to them?
I assume you're talking about Vltimas. Yeah. I'd say if you got into Epic, you should definitely check out something Bigger Marches in as well. It's two very different records, but I think they complement each other very, very well. I also think that Epic has a lot more diversity to it. I think you can find hints of subgenres in that record, be it almost more traditional metal to even thrash metal, as obviously some darker things. So I think it's a very it's a big variety on it, and at this point, I think that is the gateway record. You know, that's how you get into the band. You know, I think there's something for every extreme metal fan or even metal fan, you know, to be found in this band. And I think that is the best thing I can say.
And what do you foresee for the future, 2025, 2026, as far as the band goes?
Yeah, it's, you know, we have an American management now, FM music management from in Chicago, based in Chicago. They're trying to get us on a run in the States, which would be very helpful because I mean this is our second record. We still haven't played the States. So I hope that will happen probably early 2025. Apart from that, I guess eventually just try to create a new record, you know. You know, both of us we have different. Both David and I have different bands aside as well. He's doing I Am Morbid. He's doing quite a bit of touring with that, and I also have other things that I can also, you know, play around with if there's a dead time. But I think that once we have completed our American tour, I think that definitely the focus should be on writing a new record. And we already have quite a few songs for the album number 3 actually. So I would see that would be a very that's pretty much sure that it's going to happen during 2025. At least start the process.
Awesome. I hope I can get you guys when you finally come over here.
Where are you based at?
I just in November I just moved to Pensacola, Florida. I was in Las Vegas for about 20 years, and I'm from LA originally, in California.
Wow. All right.
But yeah, just kind of, you know, moving all over the place here.
Exactly.
Like right now, you know, it's supposedly winter time, but it's like 65 degrees and there's not a cloud in the sky, and I'm sitting here looking at palm trees and everything is green, and you know, but
well, it sounds pretty good to me, man. Well, south too, you know. It's like I love the winter, but what I don't like is this kind of the in between weather. You know, it's like raining a bit and it's like almost snowing. It's like it's just kind of, you know, it's not too cold to be that the ground is frozen. It's just, you know, a lot of mess. And you know, I miss the really ice cold winter days in Norway from when I was a kid. You know, that could get really, really cold, and you know, like a meter of snow in Norway. So I miss that, but not much else, you know. So yeah, I know what you're saying about clear sky and palm trees. Although we don't have palm trees here, but it's definitely a different environment than in Norway. I'm in Portugal, by the way.
Right. Yeah, and I in 2016 I lived in Buffalo, New York for 6 months, and you know that's up there by Canada. Okay. So I spent the whole winter there, and
yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was a whole different adventure.
Exactly.
But I'm thankful for it. You know, I think it was good to have a experience a winter like that, because it's not like that everywhere. So, you know, when you got to wake up and dig your car out of the snow just to go to work.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rune, I would love to see you guys when you get here. I look forward to the new album. And I want
great, man.
I want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much for the support, and it was good talking to you. And I hope to see you. For sure, we're gonna be able to get to the States next year. So.
Absolutely, man. And I also look forward to the possible book. You know, that's cool news.
Oh yeah. You know, it's actually it's a good thing that you asked for some stories, because I kind of keep forgetting about it. It's like it's something I really need to pin down. in my calendar, and like really go after try to get in touch with some book, what do you call it, to release a book for a blog in Norwegian. I don't know the word in English now. Yeah, somebody to release the book and also to help me write it, of course. So yeah, thanks for reminding me that.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait to see that too.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right.
And
thank
enjoy
you,
the rest
man.
of your night.
Have a good day, man.
Take care, man.